Hey traders, Christian Fromhertz, Tribeca Trade Group with your end of day market recap for Monday the 20th. And I would call it very lackluster price action today. A little bit of a snoozer today. Markets kind of did exactly what they did towards the end of last week, just very, very quiet, moving in a really tight range. We can go to the daily chart. First and just kind of take a look. The uptrend is still intact. S&P futures were above this particular line, so call it 2377. As long as we're above value, I think it's a good thing. We kind of dipped there a couple weeks ago. We're still above the blue line on my chart, which is the 20-period exponential moving average. So that's really the trend line or the uptrend line. As long as we've kind of been up through there, while things have kind of slowed down here from time to time, we're still above that line, and we're still in an uptrend. So, looking at the 5-minute bar today and just kind of summing up today's price action, we tried a couple times, just like we did on Friday. Friday we tried to break out a couple times outside of the value area and didn't want to do it. Today, which I always, talk in the beginning of the day and mention that it's going to be more of a challenging day when we start the day below value, because now we have a couple levels of resistance in front of us, and sure thing, we got to the top, or excuse me, the bottom of value, the green line, and failed. Failed there and saw a little bit of volatility come in the afternoon. Like we've been seeing, this has been the pattern of what we've been seeing in more days in the last 2 weeks than anything else. So we're going to get into the outperformers and the underperformers, but for the overall market, it just seems a little bit, while it's moving, it's definitely in an uptrend. It just seems like it's a little bit stuck in the mud right now and doesn't want to go higher, but doesn't want to go lower here yet either. Same thing with NASDAQ. NASDAQ outperformed a little bit today, just up 10 basis points. Small caps kind of resumes. There was nice outperformance last week, but it's just the first day of the month. Volume was very low today, so I also just don't put too much behind today's move with low volume. But small caps did underperform. They were down 40 basis points. They also drifted lower. They got to Friday's low and didn't want to break down there. So, a good sign that, again, it seems like whenever we get to the lows of the week or the lows from the previous week, we kind of snap back a little bit. So that's the case for IWM, which again did trail today, down 40 basis points. So what's been trending up, or what's been moving up? We'll start with the positive first, and then we'll go to the negatives, because there was a couple of days of a couple of areas that were pretty weak today. But emerging markets, we talked about this in this week's newsletter. We talked about this also in the video that accompanied the newsletter. But EEM and emerging markets seem like that's where the momentum is. The Hang Seng was up a nice, what was it last night? Up 80 basis points. The Shanghai was also up a little bit. So you just have to kind of rotate around and see where the momentum is going. And I just see a lot of momentum in the emerging markets right now and into international areas as well. FXI also did pretty well today, up 1.2%. So, while our market is just kind of digesting, international markets look like they're trending up here and doing it with some momentum, up 1.2%. I mean, when's the last time that we saw a day like that? But FX, so you really have to pay attention to not just, the same stocks. I know people really, oh, what is Facebook doing today? Oh, Facebook's, I'm just joking around a little bit, but you got to look a little bit outside. I mean, Apple did actually have a nice day today. It was up 1% today, but there's just other things that are at work here that are a little bit more powerful. So my point is with that voice is just don't get bogged down in looking at the same things every day. I know some people put out videos every day and they talk about the same four stocks every day. You got to go a little bit outside of your comfort zone and look at some of the things that are trending. We caught Alibaba today. That was a nice move today. So, while Netflix, so again, I don't want to go away from that completely, because while Netflix and Amazon and Google and Facebook, have been doing really well, there's going to be times when they're lacking momentum. And so that's my point, is just kind of gravitate towards things that have good momentum to them. So Alibaba had a real nice day today, and that is actually breaking out of the zone. And I'll tell you, I've been talking about these Chinese internets, just as, it seems like a really good indication when you look in the morning and you come in and you see Shanghai up 1% or up a decent amount. Start to look at some of these China internet names, because they seem to have a follow through move after the U.S. market opens. So that's kind of where I've been focused. Also the semi space. I'm a little bit, I'm still overweight the semis, because they are trending up, and they still have a little bit of momentum to them. They're plus 12 rising right now. So maybe they're getting a little bit ahead of themselves, but we caught. I've been long Micron. Micron had a nice day. They do report earnings this week, so I'm going to have to trim that position, or at least hedge it out a bit. I don't really like to carry risk into earnings. Maybe I'll sell some front month calls against my longer dated position. But Micron was very strong. I kind of lost a little bit of momentum towards the end of the day. AMD was really nice today, up 6.7%. If you remember, this is when the gap up being announced that it was being added to the S&P, which is often just a one-day event. So we actually saw 4 days of declines, or close to 4 days of declines last week, and then a nice green candle today. So that was a nice move today. I'm just kind of sticking with the chips here. Nvidia was a nice move today, up $3. There were some more positive comments out from Bank of America and Goldman Sachs this morning. So I've been kind of sitting with a bull put spread for a while, which now looks like it's a winning trade, knock on wood, because I still have it on. But I sold the 105 100 April put spread, and it looked like it was not doing too well a couple weeks ago, but just like that, this name has come back, as it always does. So I hung in there on this trade, and I sold that trade for about 220, and it's now marking at about $1.10, so I could buy it back for $1.10. So really nice trade that I've got going in this one. Just sticking with the theme, I noticed we had some calls go up in Xilinx today. Xilinx has been moving sideways for the last couple of weeks, so maybe this one wants to get going. Also CY Cypress, another semi name, we saw some call buying today. And then if you look at a couple other names, I'm in almost every M name, every M semi name, that is. Maxim, which ended up on the day, but also like Micron kind of lost its momentum. And I'm also still in a little piece of MRVL as well. Which also did okay today, up a little bit under 1% today. And as long as it's above the value area, I'm in it and going to try to let the trend just continue as long as the trend is up. So that's a couple of the semi names. And again, that's really where I see this. Besides international names, the semis are doing really well. The gold miners, which, remain very volatile, they outperformed today. Gold and bonds were both up today, but GDXJ ended up about GDXJ ended up about 1.5% on the day. Other than that, steel names did okay. They all kind of started lower. We bought on the dip today in U.S. Steel today, so right around the lows of the day, and you notice where this got to, right to the bottom of value. So nice recovery for the day, only finished down 0.5%. Metals and mining also did okay today, as well as materials were up. I talked about that in the sector section. XLB actually looks like it has a little bit of momentum to it right now. It hasn't punched through the top of value, but you could see a plus 8 rising score on the Raptor indicator. Besides those names, and that's the positives, biotech actually finished positively for the day, so I think that's a good sign. What's not doing too well? Retail. Retail continuing to get smoked here. And that white line on my chart is the 200-day moving average. I would label this one an avoid, unless you want to go ahead and short this. Here's your upward trend line, which it looks like we've broken this. So I would watch for further downside in this group. We saw a VFC repeat put buyer in this name. So I think it's worthwhile to have a couple puts on as well. This is a name that's underneath the 200-day moving average, has rallied, so you could basically try to fade this counter trend rally here in VFC, and I actually put on a little bit of a position here. They came in a couple times for these. These are pretty short dated, but you could see there's almost 7,000 VFC put orders, and you could see each one was basically swept. So over and over and over today. They added to those a couple times. Also very weak today. I mentioned bonds were strong, so when TLT goes up, the yields go down, and it becomes less of a financials become a little bit out of favor as bonds rally. There's a crazy print on Friday, which I'm not sure what happened there. I even looked for the print, I couldn't find it, but nevertheless, you could see I've been talking about financials, and I said, back when this bearish engulfing, we had this gap up a couple weeks ago, and then we had a bearish engulfing candle, and I said, well, it's not the best sign here. I said, make sure you watch the top of value on this value area, and notice how we've now broken into value, and we've got a couple sell signals here. So we had the MACD crossover back here. That's a bear crossover. That was a sell signal falling into the value area sell signal, and now look at the two moving averages crossing over here. So until the financials, I'm really not in the space at all right now. So let this kind of mini trend work out, and the trend for me, just like I talked about with the S&P, which is still positive, this thing is broken down. If you look at the 20 period moving average, we're still way above all the major moving averages in XLF. But if you're looking for something short term, I try to stick to the 50 and to the 20. So we've broken the 50. Maybe we'll see if the 50 holds here, but I really wouldn't want to really mess with it right in this place until we at least retake the value area here, or at least start to curl back around here. I would not try to catch this as it's falling, especially on a day where the market's flat and financials are down 80 basis points. Besides that, a couple other places that were weak today were transports, which also continue down. I haven't really been talking about them too much, but they're also just really haven't been showing strength here for a while. So they're still way above here, but here was the sell signal back here in transport. So again, you kind of have to analyze these on a case-by-case scenario. Some of the airlines I think maybe a little bit more positive right now, but obviously oil, which I haven't looked at, I'll kind of end it there for oil, but oil started the day weak, and is still kind of trapped below the 5-period exponential moving average on my chart. So it tried to overcome this. We put in a really nice hammer bar last week, which halted the decline, but we really couldn't turn the corner and get back to where we were. You could see a couple of these bars towards the end of the week have these really big long wicks on them, and we could not get above this trend line at all, or this moving average. Notice the same thing today. We're still under it, so I don't think we're completely out of the woods here. We tried to rally, just like the S&P stalling at the bottom of value. So did oil today. We got a nice move up here right around 10, 11 o'clock this morning. But again, we rally right into resistance. So again, it's not my favorite setup when we start the day below value and we've got to go through resistance. If you don't have good momentum, it's really difficult for the price action to get through it. It has a difficult time just kind of floating through there without some really nice buying going on. So that's today's summary. Thanks for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys back in the trading room tomorrow morning bright and early. Have a great night, everybody.